How do you deal with backtalk?
Welcome to Parenting Matters Now, a source of parenting advice a few minutes at a time.
Hi, this is Dr. Roger Smith of Parenting Matters Now. Just to be clear on what we are talking about, backtalk is whenever you're giving some instruction, giving some advice, direction of some sort, and your child wants to make an objection. And it usually starts with the word but. You can work with your children and train your children not to do backtalk. I'm not saying that it's whenever a child is asking for clarification or more specific instructions or the details of what you're trying to communicate to them, but it's really that attitude of saying, I don't want to do what you're telling me to do. There are some techniques, there are some approaches to help deal with it. So, but the question is it necessary to deal with backtalk? Well, let's put it in the context of we are raising not children, but we're raising adults. We're moving them through childhood to adulthood. And imagine an adult going into work and the boss says, I want you to go do such and such and such and such. And the employee says, but I don't want to. How do you think that's going to turn out? Just imagining what it's like in the adult world, backtalk is not something that's really tolerated. Certainly, if it is tolerated, it is simply tolerated. It is not pleasant. It is not desirable. It is not effective. And people who are constantly, backtalking as an adult, those people generally are not liked. They're not promoted. They don't have advantages in life. So we are dealing with a serious matter that the earlier it is trained out of your children, the more it helps them. It's not a matter of us trying to squelch them or have a power position over our children, but it is us training them in effective communication. So there are times when we do want our child to give us more information because we may not understand the landscape and give an instruction that is inappropriate. So there is that dynamic where there is a respectful resistance saying, we should not do that. This instruction is all in the context of a relationship where you're building trust and two-way communication, but it doesn't start there. You have to establish a line of authority, and it grows into this trust, two-way dialogue to where the child can correct the adult when it is appropriate. And so you move toward that. So what do you do whenever the child is small or whenever you have not dealt appropriately with backtalk and you're going, okay, now we're going to begin to train our child out of this? Regardless of the age, naturally, the older they are, the harder it is. Let's start with the hard part. If the child is old and you have done a poor job of training your child to not have backtalk with you and to resist at every instruction, every guidance, every comment that you make, they're wanting to throw up their hands, so to speak, and be obstinate. Well, first, if you're going to take action, you've got to communicate that with your child beforehand, saying, listen, we see we have fostered a bad habit that our intention is to move you to more effective communication. It's going to be uncomfortable for both of us, but we have got to begin to rein this in and give you more effective ways, tools to communicate concern, resistance, but to some degree, we're training you to comply or to follow your leader, your authority, whoever that is, whether it's a boss or a teacher, a coach, someone that there needs to be a sense first to obey, then to question, because it is very important if you're giving a safety instruction and there is a dire situation, we don't want, to have to overcome the backtalk for them to move to be safe. But when a child is small, it's an opportunity to teach them not to say, but I don't want to, but I don't like that, but this, but that, but that. you can say, I'm going to give you a hand signal when I hear you say the word but, saying you have to stop that. You have to have some type of signal to say, remember, we talked about this. That is not the way. You obey first and then question. You can train them to have ways of saying more information if there is something that's important. Like there is a danger approaching that you're not aware of, or some added information. So you need to train your child with code words of saying, Dad, can I ask a question about that? And then sometimes the answer is no. You need to carry out the trash right now. Sometimes it is, yes, what would you like to say? And that is a respectful two-way street. So giving your child cues to say, I'm glad to do that, or I'm willing to do that. Can I ask some more details? Can I ask about this? Can it be done later? There are some things that you can allow your child to ask, but it's training them to learn to ask those types of questions, not starting with the word but. That is a very important thing to train your child. So if they say the word but this, that, and the other, give them some type of signal. And I'm not saying that you have to be harsh, but you do have to be strong. And sometimes it does lead to punishment if there is ongoing resistance that is inappropriate. So that is the judgment call that parents have to make, is when are they truly out of bounds and cannot hear any instructions. And if you have some type of punishment, it usually involves pain. It might be the pain of loss of opportunity. It might be the pain of being left out in some way, or physical pain in some sort, but it is never injury. It is never harm to the child. It is a communication tool. It is to say, no, this is out of bounds. And as soon as they can understand something less noxious, use something simple, words, a look, body position, something that communicates, you must change. You must respond to this. It begins with us training them to say, your first responsibility is to listen and to obey, but it's okay to ask for more information or to give more input when that's needed. It's this training. It happens very slowly over time. It's not going to be an instant cure. It's not going to be 1, 2, 3 magic. That respectful two-way communication is so important. And it can help train your child to not be a backtalker. And we need to not be
Subscribe to
backtalkers,
Parenting
too.
Matters Now
It's Dr.
for
Roger
more
Smith of
advice,
Parenting Matters
or go
Now.
to rogersmithmd.com to search for more topics. See you next time.